Alrighty, traders, George here. Time for the gold forecast. And before we jump into that, let's tune our minds and our eyes and get them synchronized the way they should be. So let's do this drill here. Let's check out this chart. Let's look lower left. All right, bear impulse drives to a new structure low, breaks below all the trading commitment down here. The bulls rally it back up, test it as support. They try to rally it up again. They finally break over this balance beam here into an air pocket, not as much trading. Look at how clean they moved up through that zone. They press up higher, nice directional impulse. Expansion goes to contraction. A lot of trading commitment up here, and we make basically a cup and handle style pattern and breakout, clean breakout into outer space. There's no trading commitment up here. Ratio targets all the way up here. This thing's off to the races. Beautiful. And really the only way that you can look at this. There's no other way that you can spell out what's happened there. So that's the way that is read. Okay. Now, obviously there's something to that because I wouldn't be showing it to you otherwise. And the something is the perception of what you look at. So what that really is gold, and gold's actually broken down. So the reason I show that to you is for people that have a hard time with the concept of gold moving down. This gets you thinking more about the chart, and that's all that you need to think about. All right, so here with gold showing us the clues to what it's been doing and then breaking down below all the trading commitment and then the big follow through. Recently I showed you guys a big picture short setup. We basically continued lower since then. We're at 1093s right now. These are the lower ratio targets that looked like rally targets on the other chart. They're actually coming in at about 700 and 800. Now what you didn't see is this green rectangle. That's something that I drew in here to show you something else, which is this. From the monthly balance beam chart, that rectangle represents this balance beam here. That's the most significant balance beam lower than where we are right now. And this is an area to look to see if we get support. It's an area to look big picture if you're short to cover. It's the next key balance beam zone. It also collides with this uptrend here. So there's a couple things going on lower than where we are. First of all, we have the round number of 1,000. That's a bell ringer. The next thing is we have this balance beam that's got about a $60 range. It also comes in at about the collision of this uptrend and at about the 618 retrace, which is at 891. So in this region here is a zone to watch. We've got about a $110 range here for a epic gold bull bounce and an end to this selling here. Let's give a little bit of weight to what's happening up here. We have moved into this air pocket. This is the next phase of the sell-off, and here's where things can go real nasty in a hurry to move down very quickly. We happen to be parked at the 50% retrace, so half of this rally here comes in at 1088, and that's still sitting on a little bit of trading commitment, so we could get a little inkling of a bounce here, and if we do, we would consider 1200 as about the ceiling for overhead resistance. And the last thing to take away is that if we are going to remain bullish, the first thing you need to think about is when did we go bearish? We went bearish when we started trading north of 1600, so we were actually bearish when we were still going up. That's another thing that people have a hard time with. But really on this last move here above 1600, that was the first bear move. The second bear move was breaking down below 1550. The third bear move was just recently breaking below 1200s here. So we're actually in the third key bearish price move that gold's exhibited in the last 16 years. If gold does not recover this area here very quickly or pull down to this level here and bounce and resume the trend and recover this area, the other scenario is that we break to this zone and we break lower and move down to this area here. If gold moves down into the upper 600s, this bear trend will likely not recover, and we will likely chop up sideways for a very, very long time, and the gold market will completely change compared to the way that you've gotten used to seeing it. Those are the three scenarios, and the one to really take note of is if we break below 890 and trade down to this zone here, the gold market's going to be completely different, probably for about 20 years, 18 years. Here's another great thing about the balance beams. If I go to a minute-based chart, this will take me back 120 days as my default look back. I'll go to a 120-minute candle to tighten it up a bit. Now, this is a real great thing that you guys can use your balance beams for, is if you drive to new structure highs or new structure lows and you want to trade that zone, whether you want to continue it to move down or fade it, in this case moving up, a lot of traders want to do that. How they do that is a big problem. What the balance beams show me here is where all this trading commitment is, and this just happened based on the last a week or so of price action. These guys did not exist until the sell-off happened. So a combination of shorts covering that were already short from up here, new longs coming in, new shorts coming in, new longs coming in. That's what's going on. Here's where all of that has happened. So we're at 1093 right now. Bigger picture, I'd want to see price break above this zone here to get long, and if that's the case, I would respect this zone here for the first target area and then cap it at 1200 with a nod to the spike here for the second target. If we're going to break lower, and we're already a bit lower right now, just to get below 1090 sets up maybe a last move down here to about 1085s or so, but that sets up to move lower as we saw in the big picture charts. For the third target, I'm keeping it at the ceiling of that balance beam below, and then the round number of 1000 and then 1040 on route. That's the trade setup in either direction based on being here. And then of course, you know, there could be other setups that happen within. You could be getting long north of this zone here to look to this as your main zone and breaking down below this zone here to move down. That's what those arrows are for. But this is a great added feature and benefit of the balance beam, is to drill it down to price extremities and find aggressive trade setups. So that's what I've done here. So gold continuing its negative slide here. This is sort of the near-term battlefield for gold. Remember the view that you saw here on the monthly. This is really putting it in perspective. We either recover this zone here pronto and move up, or we pull back, or we break down to this level, and if we break down to that level, it's game over for the bull trend. Use the link at the bottom of this video. You can hop in the live room, watch me day trade some markets, and also do more big picture work like this. That'll do it for now. We'll see you back in the live room.